Inclusive action. What does it mean to embody inclusive action? I told you in my introduction, I'm a dean. I'm a college dean. And in that position, I carry power and influence. I carry that by virtue of who I am, the education that I have earned, and the role that I have, the position that I have. Oftentimes, those of us in higher education, our first response is to intellectualize, right? We start from our heads. I think, I take action, I solve, I address, I remedy. I go from here to here. It's a bit disembodied, to say the least. Recently, I was invited to talk at a university about a topic about which I am greatly passionate, and that is about women and leadership and the advancement of women in higher education. The colleague who invited me also asked me to speak about issues related to women and people of color, and I declined. I just didn't think that that was my story, or so I thought. I said earlier I have the privilege of being dean of the Women's College here, and one of the things I love about this college is that over 45% of its students identify as women of color. You'll see their beautiful faces up here on the screen. They will often say to me, "Just what are you?" I bet some of you are wondering, just what is she? You know, as far as I know, I'm Italian and I'm Sicilian. Now, the distinction of being Italian and Sicilian is another talk for another day. But trust me, there is a distinction. So back to this talk that I was asked to give at the university. Days before I'm to get on a plane and speak at this university, I receive an email. From my colleague at the university where I am to speak. "I am writing with a confession," she said, "which is to say that because of your cafe con leche skin and your dark hair and your dark eyes, I've been talking about you as I have promoted you around campus as a woman of color. Your colleague tells me that you are Italian, which of course is not a heritage that in and of itself draws a lot of discrimination these days. So in that regard, I've been misrepresenting you. Sorry, I made assumptions." And then the email closes with the following question from her to me. "How would you like for me to address this issue?" How would you like for me to address this issue? When did her assumptions about me become my problem to fix? I really struggled with this because this was a woman who I knew was of good faith and good intent. I struggled with the assumptions that were inherent in her email, the ways in which she judged me based on my physical characteristics. How she qualified and quantified who I was, a litmus test. Could I be seen as a woman of color? Have I ever been discriminated against? As I considered what to do, how to fix the problem, I decided to move from here to here. I decided to move from a place of anger and confusion to a place of compassion and vulnerability. But this was not easy. What happened during this exchange was it reminded me of the struggles that my sisters and brothers of color, indeed, any person with a visible difference has every single day, both the burden of being different and the responsibility for designing the solution. I decided to turn this into a teachable moment for this colleague and for myself. And so while my typical reaction might have been to be angry and fight back, I allowed myself to operate not from here, but from here. In my response, this is what I wrote. I am not sure how to respond to your email, but I will try as best as I know how. And I went on to say the following. While I certainly can't speak to whether Italian Americans are discriminated more or less than any other ethnic or racial groups, certainly your assumptions about my race and my ethnicity and any discrimination that I have faced in my life are worthy of some conversation as our communities wrestle with assumptions about anyone based on physical characteristics. For example, I am often assumed to be heterosexual, and I am not. Her response was beautiful. She said, "How could I have fallen into this trap? How embarrassing. I have navigated differences myself, and yet I fell into this trap." Inclusive action. It's not just about the head. It's about the head and the heart. It's not about separation, but it's about respectful integration. It's about being open to the possibilities of having the difficult conversations and engaging in them so that we can learn from one another instead of being at odds with one another. It's about our taking responsibility for our assumptions and working through them. Don't be disembodied. Don't be disembodied. Each of us has a role to play to embody inclusive action. Open up to the possibility that exists, particularly here in higher education, where we have both the opportunity and the obligation to embody inclusive action.